Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
You ever have those days at work where your boss is like, kill this guy or topple this regime, and all you want to do is kick back, watch Mean Girls, and think about who's going to ask you to prom? No? Well, you would if your coworkers included Kate Bishop and Jean Grey. Time to act like Canadian exchange students and see if Barely Lethal is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Taipei and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? So I've mentioned on this show in the past that I'm that guy. I'm that guy who, before spending 90 minutes watching a film, I will probably spend about 3 hours surfing through the various streaming service screens trying to find something to watch for 90 minutes. It's usually a 2-to-1 ratio. An hour of streaming, or at least scanning trailers and reading descriptions and looking at tomatometers and the whole works for half an hour of watching something. It is definitely a 2-to-1 ratio. But every now and then you stumble upon something where you're like, whoa. This looks fun. It's got a good cast. And it qualifies? Well, count me in. And here to be counted in herself, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I am ready for my first day of school. How you doing?
Should I take a picture of you with your backpack?
It's been a minute since I've been, in a high school. Yeah.
Do you remember what high school is?
I think my memories of high school are very akin to the impression that young Kate Bishop had of high school. And yes, I'm talking about the leg warmers and the headband and the multi-pattern matching. Oh God, I would be a mess. If I went back to high school I would be like the narc. Narc lady.
You would literally be that Steve Buscemi meme from 30 Rock.
Hello, my fellow students. What is up?
Dear God. With a t-shirt that actually says rock band on it.
Yeah.
Yes. We are talking about a film that we kind of stumbled on just by scanning through the streaming services that we have subscriptions to. We're talking about Barely Lethal. And I didn't even know this movie existed, but I'm kind of happy that we actually are going down this road because this is a fantastic freaking cast. Like, it's a huge cast. And really kind of before they exploded onto the scene. Some of them, obviously, namers now for sure. But at the time, maybe not so much. But we're gonna go down that road in a little bit. But before we get Barely Lethal, we need to take this barely advertised movie and trailerize it.
The Prescott Agency, an undercover government organization in the business of grooming young girls for field work. Which sounds really bad, but hey, that's their business model. Among their ranks is Agent 83, a highly skilled, uber-efficient, no-nonsense operative who would rather spend her days reading Teen Beat, watching chick flicks, and wanting to be normal. She'll get her chance when she fakes her own death and enters a foreign exchange student program, gets paired with a family, and enters high school. Posing as Megan, a Canadian in the 2010s with the fashion sense of an 80s Jersey Mall girl, She'll speedrun her way through every plot line and meet every character from teen movies and TV shows. Like the meet cute nerd guy, the apathetic too cool for school dude, the backstabbing cheerleaders, and the rebel who turns themselves around after meeting the right girl. Prepare for more comedic sap than a maple syrup sitcom in this breakfast movie club comedy. Haley Steinfeld stars in Barely Lethal. Rated PG-13 for professional girl boss.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this movie actually takes a lot of the tropes from all of those high school era chick flick TV show kind of vibes and starts to turn it on its head.
But that's what makes it so fantastic.
Yeah.
It is exactly what you would imagine. Like a girl who was brought up training to be like a secret operative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has absolutely no clue except for what she sees in magazines and movies about high school. You know, like her entire impression is coming from and probably outdated media, right?
Oh,
like
God.
that's the thing. So of course it also, I love that it shows, and you mentioned like the quintessential makeup of high school. You know, you've got like the rocker, the jock, the mean girls,
Mm-hmm.
like, and no matter time nor place, it never changes.
And also, very much, there's a Stifler in here as well. Like, every single teen comedy movie and TV show that you watched, no matter what era you grew up in, right? Whether it's like the Pretty in Pinks and the Breakfast Clubs from the 80s, whether it's the American Pie films from the 90s, right? Whether it's whatever it was in the 2010s, probably like Buffy or whatever kind of thing. Like whatever people watched, there were those tropes, and those tropes get to be kind of turned a little bit on their head in this one. But let's get into who is in this movie. The movie stars Haley Steinfeld, Sophie Turner, Samuel L. M. F. Jackson, Jessica Alba, Cameron Dove, Rachel Harris, Thomas Mann, Toby Sebastian, Gabriel Basso, and Dan Fogler. It is the theatrical movie debut of Dove Cameron, who had previously done a TV movie called Cloud9, but she was also one of the main stars in the Liv and Maddie TV show. It was directed by Kyle Newman, and we've talked about a Kyle Newman film on this show before. Previous to this, he directed Fanboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, this film was apparently originally rated R, but they appealed that rating and they didn't actually have to make any changes, and they got it down to PG-13. So clearly, I don't know what they were actually rated R for, but I guess cooler heads prevailed.
It had to be the face drawing. Because
or
really,
random stabbing of the dolls kind of thing.
There was nothing R about this movie. It was family friendly. Like, we could watch this with our young high schoolers.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost as a how not to high school.
How not to high school. It should it be an instructional video?
It should. It could. Or, training for special ops.
How do you just... Hi, I'm Haley Steinfeld. You may remember me from the movie Barely Lethal, where I played a Canadian foreign exchange student going to a school in America. Well, if you're a Canadian foreign exchange student, here's some tips that you might want to follow. Because
here's what not to do.
Here's what not to do. The film had a budget of $15 million. Domestically, it only grossed $6,075. That's
because it wasn't advertised.
Well, okay.
Like, when did this come out?
It came out on March 29th, 2015. On that weekend, it only made $1,726, finishing 71st. That's it.
Okay, well, they also missed the mark on March break.
Oh, completely. But the big asterisk is that it only debuted in 2 theaters only. Now, the big opening that week was San Andreas, debuting $54 million in first place. Aloha also debuted in 6th place with $9.6 million. Now, the second and only other week that it was in theaters, the following week, it went from 2 theaters to 22 theaters for a total of $2,108, finishing 72nd. Worldwide, it did make $933,847. So this film has nothing to do with the box office, because if you only spend 2 weeks across a total of 24 theaters combined, that's not a lot of opportunity to make money. So you can take the box office and you can shove it, because it doesn't really matter when it comes to this movie. But what does matter is the reason we're here, the critics. Over Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a tomatometer of 22% and a popcorn meter of 38%. At Letterboxd, it sits at 2.4 stars out of 5 for a 48% score. At IMDb, 5.4 stars out of 10, 54%. At Metacritic, it sits at 44%. And at the Movie Database, always generous, a 57% score, giving this film the aggravated aggregate of 43.83%. So for the most part across the board, it's fairly evenly, ranked and rated and the like, except for the critics over at Rotten Tomatoes. 22%. How low do you have to go, right? Because this is not a 22% film.
It's not. Like, the caliber of the star power in this movie. And so take me back to 2015. That was well before Kate Bishop.
Oh, yeah, well before. But I do believe this is at the time when Sophie Turner is in Game of Thrones as well.
Okay, so there's that.
Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury by this point.
And Lucifer, when did that first come out? Because Dr. Linda...
Rachel Harris, yeah. So
right?
I think Lucifer had just started around this time, as I recall. I could be wrong on that one, but I'd have to take a look at that. But also, you have Dove Cameron, who's on the come up. You have Jessica Alba, who's just an absolute gem all the time, no matter what. Like, you do have a decent cast with this. And I think the cast actually looks better in hindsight. But let's take a look at some of those higher scores, okay? Highest score, 57% of the Movie Database. Your average at about 43%. Are we still too low there?
See, I really enjoyed this movie. So I think I would place it... Now, was it incredible? No. Was it an enjoyable watch? Yes. So I would put it like 69, dude. I would I would put it
people
like...
say I have the bad dad jokes.
I don't know if I would hit 70, but it was definitely in the 60s.
I mean, I can also understand why it originally got an R rating, because it stars Samuel L. Jackson, who usually is an R rating unto himself. But I mean, I'm going to put this out there right off the bat and let you know what you're getting into, dear listeners. Samuel L. M. F. Jackson is sans swearing in this film.
Because it was a family movie.
It was a family movie.
Like, I know I've seen Sam Jackson in a family-friendly movie. I think there was...
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children,
Exactly, the Home for the Peculiar Children. Like he has done family-friendly movies. He was also the voice of Garfield's dad, for goodness sake.
Right. He was also the voice of Whiplash in the Turbo movie.
Well, the minute you hear his voice, it's like, oh, he's going to drop an F-bomb.
Right.
But not
also,
doesn't always.
Where is my super suit?
Yes, that's it. Frozone.
But yeah, no, this is definitely, if you're looking for your typical Samuel L. Jackson performance, complete with all the F words that you can throw at a script, this isn't that role, but he is good in it.
Hey there. Try to remember this because I think you're going to need it. QUINCE.com/Pantheon. I'll remind you again in a minute. Okay, with these cold mornings and holiday plans just around the corner, I want my wardrobe to be simple and sharp. I was just pulling out my winter clothes, and right at the front were my Quince cashmere sweaters. Now look, I've been a huge fan for years. They just feel incredible, and they really hold up well. Honestly, seeing them all laid out made me realize I need to grab a few more to get me through this winter. That's the best part about Quince. Their staples are an amazing value, like their famous $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters that just feel like an everyday luxury. They deliver this quality by partnering directly with ethical factories, cutting out the middlemen. So you get premium quality at half the cost of other high-end brands. My Quince cashmere is definitely what I'm reaching for most this season. Give and get holiday staples that last this season and beyond with Quince. Go to quince.com/Pantheon for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Pantheon. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Pantheon.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight?
Aha!
Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
But let's get into the breakdown of this film. Of course, we start with the star of the whole thing, Haley Steinfeld as Agent 83 / Megan, the Canadian exchange student. Your thoughts on her?
How fun. Oh my God. I think of all of the young actresses who could play this role, she held her own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it was tough, right? Like she goes from being like a kick-ass
Kate Bishop,
super soldier, right? To just completely clueless. And I think I liked her best when she was first starting school because she was just so like knowing, right? Like the mean girls that invited her to the table. And she's like, yeah, I know that, you know, you're just going to bring me in to make fun of me. So no, thank you. You know, like clueless, but knowing, if that's even a thing. She was kind of trailing the line of like, everyone is laughing at her, but she didn't quite know why, but she knew it was happening.
Yeah. There are few actresses around that era that could have pulled this off. I mean, I think Emma Stone could have pulled this off, but she was busy doing Aloha at the time. Haley Steinfeld has that ability to do action star as well as comedy. And I think she was the perfect choice for the role. That said, I have some character issues. And again, this has nothing to do with Haley Steinfeld at all. She was absolutely perfect for it. But let's take a look at the character of Agent 83 here. So the Prescott School is supposed to be training these girls in order to be able to become field operatives to do wet work, right? To overthrow regimes, to take down criminal overlords, to do CIA-ish. So you would think that psychology would be one of the things that they would have to learn, you know, alongside all the bomb defusals and the killing and the hoy-hoy. Like they've trained them to be assassins and special agents, the whole works. But infiltrating something should mean that they should be able to blend in. So they should be trained on how to be, or at least pass off as teenage girls.
But she tried. Her source material, however, was a bit outdated. But she tried.
Okay, well, her source material was movies and TV shows, which are completely fiction anyways. But I mean, still, she's watching Mean Girls. She's watching like all these TV shows and whatnot in these movies and these magazines. But then she still shows up at high school looking like the 80s threw up on her closet.
However, she assimilated very quickly. I can guarantee you that the new girl in school doesn't get to date the haughty rock star if she doesn't blend in.
No, I get that part. And yes, she did bounce back quickly. But I mean, at no point, and even like when she first gets to meet the exchange student family that she's staying with, Dove Cameron's character is dressed normally. She's dressed normally. So what in her research makes her think that, discount Olivia Newton-John flashing back to the 80s is the look that you're going for?
Now, hold on, though. Was that her clothing that she had in that closet, or was that just what was made available to her?
That was the whole thing. That was going by the profile, right? Remember, because she had that whole little thing set up in her closet where it was the profile. This was the mission, right? This was the dossier that she had created in order to be able to assimilate into high school life, and yet for some reason she looked like she wanted to be at the next Tiffany concert.
Not a bad thing.
No, don't get me wrong.
But
we'll be at the next Tiffany concert. That's fine, but we're not going to dress like that, though.
Maybe wrong era.
Wrong era. Yeah, she's going to be at the Jersey concert at the shopping mall to go see that Tiffany show, as opposed to going to the arena or the casino or wherever Tiffany is playing these days. But that's the thing. She's supposed to be able to blend into these situations. I can understand the entire idea behind the Prescott School is to be able to train these girls to become operatives, to be able to be put into field work, to blend in, to become almost like sleeper cells. So Megan should be better at doing that.
She was great, though, because she won over her toughest audience, and that was the girl that she was living with.
Mm-hmm.
The home that she was brought into.
Oh, absolutely. No, that part I got. I liked that connection. So let's jump to her, of course, that being Dove Cameron, who played Liz Larson. This is the daughter of the family that she is staying with while she's part of this exchange program. Your thoughts on her?
I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think I liked her better when she was sarcastic and mean and just like you could tell that.
I don't think she was being mean, though. I think she was just being almost embarrassed.
Yeah, but she had a real chip on her shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the way that she reacted or responded to her mother. She was very, I don't know, you almost see like hurt people.
Yeah.
Right? And she built up this wall around her.
This of course, after her father left.
Yeah. But it was almost a protective barrier that she didn't want to let anybody in.
Do you know who she reminded me of a little bit? Not from a looks perspective, but from a character perspective. She reminded me of Carol Seaver from Growing Pains, the TV show, right? Because in that family dynamic, Carol Seaver was the studious one, like so serious. And meanwhile, like her parents are like, very easygoing, that kind of stuff, right? When you have Rachel Harris as your mom in the movie, right? Of course, Rachel Harris is going to bring that Rachel Harris energy, which I absolutely love. I love that Dove Cameron, it plays Liz as such a straight and narrow, almost like someone who doesn't want their routine and their way of doing things upended at all. Liz has probably taken all this time in order to be able to go her way while still avoiding her mom's, no, just go with it kind of attitude, right? Now, here's Megan, and all of a sudden she has to contend with that because she kind of has to look after Megan as well, which is outside of her purview. Liz is just struggling to take care of herself at this point. But I also like, too, at no point does Liz ever have a breakdown moment, right? But she does let her hair down a little bit. And it doesn't become one of those typical girly, oh, we're going to have to dress you up. No. Liz Larson is played very realistically. I love what Dove Cameron did with this character.
I do love the scene, though, where they're getting ready for the party.
Mm-hmm.
And it really shows like a bonding, like that sisterly moment where, you see them start to get along.
Yeah. But even the scene where Liz is probably 3 sheets to the wind, sitting in the bathtub, right, with Bernard, now that he's met Liz. But when she's sitting there and just allowing herself to finally let go and have a laugh, that's what Liz needs so much, is a laugh. And when that laugh finally happens, we get to see, the hard shell exterior crack and just like a ray of sunshine come out of Liz Larson. That's fantastic.
It's so funny because you kind of mentioned a little bit about Bernard, how he changed. And he was always
because he was always Gooch.
He was the jokester, like just
he was Stifler.
Class clown, right? But the thing that I don't know if I love about this movie is showing how characters change, how high school tropes, whether it's the class clown, the prankster, or the serious, studious student.
But you had that in The Breakfast Club with Bender.
The nerd turned popular girl. Like, it just shows that it's like, you know what? I don't know. If this movie came out and said, be yourself, and if the characters remained even keel for the whole movie, and they didn't change personalities, I think that I would have bought it more.
But to the same token as well, it also puts in this almost undertone that, and we can talk about this about movies, right? Like, most movie writing has to come from some form of reality. Tropes are tropes for a reason, because they have happened. You can watch a movie like The Breakfast Club or Pretty in Pink or American Pie, and you can find examples in everyday life of some of these characters that are, probably the characters themselves. There are amalgamations of people that the writers knew, right? I guarantee you, like, that line that this one time at band camp, that line doesn't happen by chance, right? I'm sure one of those writers knew someone who probably went to band camp and was probably a little on the woohoo cray side, but cray in the good way, right? All writing comes from a kernel of truth and then gets expanded upon and elaborated upon and blown up to such epic proportions that it becomes funny. That's comedy, right? So this movie, in taking Megan, someone who basically profiled their entire want to be in high school and be a normal person by watching these movies and then realizing that there are all these types of people in her world, it kind of plays on that a little bit. So I don't know if the movie's more a comedy or more an instructional videos to be careful what movies you watch and learn from. Samuel L. M. F. Jackson, who plays Hardman. Your thoughts on the non-swearing Sam J?
I always love Sam Jackson. Again, all you have to do is hear his voice. Doesn't matter the movie. You hear his voice and you know it's going to be a good movie. Mainly because he's in it. So I really I loved how he was like the hardcore trainer, right? He was the take no. Yeah, he is literally training young children to be like
killers,
trained killers. Yeah. Exactly.
But I think that the cool thing about this is that it's still a Samuel L. Jackson character, but it's done in a family-friendly way without taking away what makes Sam J so much fun, right? This is what you're getting out of Nick Fury, right? In a little bit more comedic kind of sense, right?
But I think that was the best part of it, is that it's still Sam Jackson and he's still dead serious, but he's working with like 5-year-olds who, when he's training them to like defuse a bomb and they're cutting the wrong things or they're like blowing things up, it's Sam Jackson and he's so just damn lovable.
That's the thing. You get lovable Sam J in this, right? And I don't know many other movies that tap into that, his ability to be family friendly.
See, that's the thing. He was towing the line between, he wanted to be super serious and super scary, and he wanted to be the authoritative figure. But I mean, Agent 86 had him kind of wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially
83, not 86.
Oh, sorry. Got my numbers wrong.
Right.
I don't know who Agent 86 is. We don't talk about Agent 86.
That'll be in the sequel.
But she had him so wrapped that even though he's like, you're on your own, he couldn't just leave her.
No, but that's the thing. They had actually built up this kinship between Hardman and Agent 83, right? Even though Agent 84 wanted to do all of these missions because she thought she was ready to go, 83 was still, Hardman's go-to girl, right? So, yeah, there's almost that, take her under your wing kind of vibe that you're getting from Hardman.
But he also put fuel to that fire. Like he placed those girls against each other to make them stronger.
Yes.
To make their hate for each other even stronger. And that's exactly why he placed 84 in the high school. Dun, dun, dun.
But I think also to the same token as well, like Hardman doesn't do it in order to be mean. Everything Hardman does is for the betterment of the girls. And I think that's the key point here that isn't lost in the characterization of Hardman. You can see the teddy bear behind the gruff.
Yeah, but you also have to create that animosity to make them better fighters.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like, as I said, put fuel on that open fire.
Tough love.
Yeah.
And Hardman is a tough love guy.
But it was more on the other side. Like 84 just really had a hate for 83.
Oh, 84 had a chip on her shoulder.
Because she wanted to be the best. She wanted to be the favorite. And even when 83 disappeared, she thought she was next in line. And maybe she was, but then she just realized that she's not. She's, again, going to be placed to kind of mess with 83 and ruin everything that she set up.
Yeah, to create an environment so unconducive to Megan fitting in that she gives up and goes back to the Prescott School. We've been talking about her now. Agent 84, also known as Heather, played by Sophie Turner. Your thoughts on her?
She was harsh, man. She stole from Heather.
Okay. Also, spoilers like a mofo. If you haven't watched all this film, because we're going to start to say things and there are major plot points in what we are going to say. So if you have not watched this film yet, it is out there on streaming services. I believe we watched this on Prime Video. So you can actually go out there and watch this movie if you are, subscribing to those services. So I think with Sophie Turner, I think you have to have someone who can pull off, I don't want to say a harsh look, but someone who comes off a bit harder than Haley Steinfeld. You don't want to put someone in there who's going to play it cute. Like you couldn't put Dove Cameron in that role because it would have come off a bit more cute and light. You want someone who looks like they could kick ass. And Sophie Turner looks like she could kick ass because guess what happens in Game of Thrones? She eventually does kick a little bit of ass, even though she has her ass kicked as well in that TV series. But I love the fact that she comes in and, she's poised, right? She is prim and proper. And she comes in almost like this. If you're a high school guy, you're going to look her way because that's how she's dressed and that's the aura that she's given, right? Megan is cute as a button, right? She is. Haley Steinfeld is cute as a button. Her character in this is just like, you want to hug the girl because she's just so likable. Heather's not that girl. Heather's going to come in, point to the guy that she wants, and it's going to happen because that's what Heather wants.
Which blows my mind that she wound up with the AV guy.
Well, no, she took the AV guy because, of course, Megan was with Cash. So she recognized that Roger is the guy that Megan should be with. So she tried to cut in on that. So that was a surgical strike by Heather.
It's true. I mean, she came in and she assessed the situation and she knew exactly how to get to Heather.
But here's the thing. That just proves that the Prescott girls know what to do in a situation like this, right? Heather can come in and identify who to go to, who to attack, and who to manipulate in order to complete the mission. We should have seen that with Megan. And every now and then Megan would fall into like this very almost combat dialogue, right? Almost like this army lingo that is her language. And anyone who knows anyone in the military and then tries to have a conversation with them while they're with their military buddies, they're going to talk in all these acronyms and you're not going to understand what the hell they're talking about because that's military lingo. So Megan still busts into that, but Heather feels like an agent.
You know what I also loved about Heather is her puns, and that was the connection with the AV guy.
Yes, absolutely. I think the funny thing about this is that, like, Game of Thrones is an epic TV show, right? And she's good in it, but her character in it is not the strongest character, right? Everyone else in the Stark family seems to have more of an ability to do the killing and do the thing that needs to be done, whereas Sophie Turner's character it feels more like the princess that needs to be coddled a little bit. Now, again, that's not Sophie Turner, that's the character and the way it's written, right? And we could sit here, and I know we're going to have to at some point cover the X-Men movies that she's in, because her Jean Grey is in these X-Men films that are a little lackluster in comparison to what came before. But keep in mind, too, she's trying to pick up this role that was once held by Famke Janssen, and Famke Janssen killed the Jean Grey role. So it's kind of hard to follow in those shoes. I think this is probably one of my favorite Sophie Turner roles in a film, period. I think she killed it in this. I think she was the perfect choice for this. I think the only other person you could put in that role at that time was maybe Deborah Ann Wall, who, of course, now is in Daredevil, but at the time was also in True Blood as well. But I think Sophie Turner was the right choice for this.
I think she would have been a mite bit old for this.
I don't think so, because, I mean, keep in mind, this came out in 2015, right? So around that time that True Blood, I guess True Blood had been out a little bit by that point, but yes, and I'm looking at the redheads that would kind of fit that role. Maybe a Madeline Pesh, who is also in Riverdale. So possibly, but Sophie Turner was perfect for this role. I think she was spot on what the role needed. You mentioned him earlier. Roger the AV guy is played by Thomas Mann. Your thoughts on him?
Oh, I liked him. I liked him a lot, but I liked his dad even more. Oh my God. Like the absolute
inappropriate questions.
So out of touch, yet trying to be cool. But more on that later.
But again, isn't that a trope unto itself as well?
Yes.
Right? This is kind of like the Eugene Levy character from American Pie.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? But again, it takes all these little characterizations and tropes and nuances from everything that came before it and incorporates it into one film. And again, like real life, you can sit there and point to these characters and go, oh, I know that character. Oh, I know that character.
I know. And even their setup where, like, you just knew from the start they should have been together, but he wound into the BFF role.
Oh, he was pretty much getting friend zoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, but this is the thing, right? And I like the earnestness and just the sincerity that Thomas Mann brought to the role. But I mean, this role itself is going to have people from the 80s traumatized and screaming at their screen because Andy should have been with Ducky in the end and not go with Andrew McCarthy at the end of Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
Should have been with Ducky. Damn it. Pretty in Pink gets people mad. But still, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Molly Ringwald's character chose the wrong person. Go be with Ducky. Ducky is the good guy.
Well, that was happening here.
Right? This is almost like Ducky's revenge. Roger is proof positive that Andy should have gone with Ducky. This is how Pretty in Pink should have gone.
This is the what if.
This is the what if. I feel like when I was like, as you watch this, time, space, reality, and the correcting of the Pretty in Pink timeline. Can we do that? Can we just take all the films from the 80s and re-edit them to the ending that should happen?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh my God. Yes, Andy would end up with Ducky. I'm sure Optimus Prime wouldn't die in Transformers the movie. I'm still not over that freaking thing.
That's a great idea for a podcast.
Great.
How it should have ended.
When are we going to have time to make another podcast?
Well,
Well, I mean, there's that How It Should Have Ended YouTube channel. So, there that does already kind of exist. But again, I love just the simple, I love that you pointed it out, the whole they connect on puns thing. It shows, and again, it's that trope that a couple should be able to laugh together. It shouldn't just be superficial. It shouldn't just be, he's the cute, dreamy guy with the guitar. I need to go to him. No. The one that makes you laugh is the one for you. The one, get the person who's your kind of cray-cray, right? Get that kind of level, and then start a podcast with them.
But he was so kind to her at the beginning.
But that's the thing.
Like her introduction on the stage.
Right? That he almost eased her into it. Like he almost cared for her right off the bat. Right? And
love at first sight.
Exactly. But I love that it wasn't like Pepe Le Pew with the thong, I will shoot you with the ek of love. No, it was, he's the meet cute. He is the meet cute. Toby Sebastian, who played Cash, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Toby Sebastian actually sang a lot of his songs in this film, and I'm not surprised because he has a little musical upbringing in his family, because his sister is someone who has done a little bit of recording, but is probably best known as Yelena Belova. He is the brother of the Pugh, Florence Pugh, Cash for You.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's neat.
But your thoughts on Cash?
Even after watching the movie, I still don't know about him. I don't know why Megan wound up with him, because, we know she should have been with AV Guy. Right,
with Roger. But I'm really, really, really glad that you brought this up, because this kind of returns me to my initial point of how Megan is written. So Megan does the profile, right? She does her own mission dossier based on all these movies and TV shows. And in every single one of these movies and TV shows, the good girl should end up with the good guy, not the cool guy, the good guy, right? And yet she still goes with Cash, right? Oh, who knows? Maybe she was watching Grease, and Sandy goes off with Danny Zuko, and the good girl gets the cool guy, and it's all good.
Yeah, but he was the cool guy. He was kind of the prize amongst the the girls in school,
and for some reason the faculty as well.
She wanted, I don't know, I guess she wanted absolute popularity, and why not date the coveted rock star?
But to that same token as well, for Cash to go up to the new girl and instantly be like, all right, well, we can go hang out, right? It paints Cash as a little predatory almost, and I don't think that bodes well for the character. He's aloof, and he'd rather play video games and focus more on his music. And even at the gig at the prom, he's more focused on his set times than he is on the girl.
Yeah, but he knew he knew he was meant to be prom king.
Yeah, but still, again, all of this stuff doesn't paint Cash in a good character. And maybe you're trying to do that so you don't want Megan to end up with him. Maybe that's the goal. Sometimes you create a character just so you as the viewer want the main character to not go for them.
I think, you just needed the conflict, because you also needed to see how it was meant to work out in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And you needed that you needed to have that moment where Megan realized who she needed to be with only when she thought that she almost lost Roger.
Yeah. But again, this falls into the same tropes, right? So I guess before we go forward, I'm going to ask you this. Like, I get that this movie takes the tropes and then kind of turns them on their head a little bit, but do you find at times that it falls into the same tropes? And maybe it's by design.
Oh, I don't really know how to answer it, except that I think the tropes were necessary because it was so predictable that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how it's going to go. And that's how it needs to be because this is how we get to the end.
I almost feel like the school should have been like normal and tropes shouldn't have existed at the school. So it would have put to bed the idea that the tropes exist for a reason.
Well, that's what, like, I had a very different high school experience. Like,
you were cool.
My high school, no. I was
You're
the
cooler than me.
anti-cool. No, my high school didn't, I mean, believe me, I've been to schools. Grade school was awful when it came to like the pecking order of like different personalities and you know, you've got the jocks and the rock stars and the, you know, the punk crowd and the drama kids. But my high school, literally, like, yeah, people dressed the way they wanted to dress to express themselves, but everybody got along. Like, we hung out with...
You were not at a normal school then.
It was not normal. Like, it was not, because the drama kids hung out with the athletes, and, you know, we hung out with the punks, and we went to their shows, and it was, everybody just got along, and it was crazy weird.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of got that a little bit at the end of like a movie like Pump Up the Volume, where like it was more all these different cliques and whatnot just found themselves on the same side in this battle against the authority.
Yes.
But that's more of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, as opposed to
without the conflict, but everybody got along. And
Yeah.
it was like, you
To
know,
a point.
people were supporting each other and building each other up and encouraging people to be themselves.
Mhm.
That was my experience anyway. It was crazy. And I know it's crazy. It's not normal.
Yeah, no, I remember high school, and I remember doing my best to not be around high school at the time, because my high school sucked, and my time in that high school sucked. My time outside of that high school, even during those years though, was way, way better, because I found things to do with myself. Rachel Harris, who of course plays Mrs. Larson. We've talked about Rachel Harris on this podcast before, going back to our Grading on a Curve episode about Netflix originals, because she was one of the best parts of Mother of the Bride. Your thoughts on Rachel Harris?
I absolutely love her. I love how cool she is. She's just, you know what? Any role that I see her in, she's just so damn easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost like you've got to wonder, is she actually acting, or is she really just that easygoing and likable? She's literally like the kind of person where you just want to give a great big hug to.
Right?
Like, she was the quintessential cool mom. And I think the fact that, you know, she was trying to be the cool mom to her daughter.
But it was effortless for her, though. That's the thing. She's cool just by being herself, as opposed to, you know, like pulling the Buscemi and trying to be cool.
Yet her own daughter, though, was doing everything that she could to kind of fight that.
I will say, I think Rachel Harris as Dove Cameron's mother, I think that was the perfect mother-daughter dynamic to have in that family, because they played opposite enough characters, but when you saw Liz start to let go a little bit and have fun, you could almost see the Rachel Harris-ness of the mother character that she put in. Rachel Harris. Okay, I had to look this up, and I know you never want to say an actor's age, but I need to point this out. So, as of the time of this recording, Rachel Harris is 57 years old. Okay, which means at the time that she did this, 47 years old. Rachel Harris is timeless. She really is. She feels the same in this movie as she was when we talked about her in Mother of the Bride, which wasn't that long ago that it was released. Rachel Harris, if she keeps acting into her very senior years, because she has that Betty White aura about her. Every time she's on the screen, you know it's going to be fun.
You want to know something? I honestly thought she was older. And it's no disrespect. It's just when I first saw her and absolutely adored her in Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, I found there were certain scenes where some scenes she seems younger and more, jovial and full of life and just absolute full of energy. And then
that's one way of putting it.
Some scenes I'm like, how old is she actually? But you know what's funny? Leading into this record, how many times did I catch myself saying barely legal, which is like the complete opposite of, when I look at the actresses in this, specifically, you've got Heather, you've got Megan. I'm like,
they're late teens.
Are they even high school age? They seem older.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, none of these high school kids seem to be high school age.
Oh, so it's Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah,
which,
pretty much.
Again, is a trope, right? So get the older kids to play the high school kids because they can look young. But I think Haley Steinfeld I think both Haley Steinfeld and Sophie Turner were actually around like late high school age when this film came out. So I can kind of get behind it, but they come off as older. I get that. Also, if ever a Golden Girls remake or reboot is done, Rachel Harris needs to be in it.
Oh my God, yeah.
She would be the perfect person for that.
Can I apply to be Dorothy? Because I think I would make an excellent, get off my lawn, don't mess with me.
Oh, God.
I'm a cranky old woman.
Picture it, Sicily, 1953.
Love Sophia.
Okay, Gabriel Basso, who played Gooch. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah. It's so funny because I found him to be like just the annoying class clown that, he's just kind of there. I love how it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love eventually he found himself. He almost realized that, he was acting up for attention and he didn't have to put on a show anymore. He could just be himself.
Okay. So as I was doing my notes for this, and I know I've met you, so I'm going to phrase this in a way that lives in your language.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So Liz and Gooch, okay? The couple that they become. Would you say the better comparison is Hermione and Ron? Or if Hermione ever got together with Malfoy?
Oh. No. There wasn't really a Malfoy. There wasn't like...
Yeah, because even Cash wasn't a Malfoy.
There wasn't a dude you didn't like.
There were no Malfoys in this, really. I mean, Heather's probably the closest thing to a Malfoy you're going to get.
Like, if anything, I would go with the Mean Girls,
Yeah.
They were the Malfoys here.
Well, no, Heather's the Malfoy.
Well, yeah. No, you're right. No, she's the Voldemort.
Mm.
Yeah. We don't talk about her.
No.
But no, you know what though? I don't hate the idea that it's Hermione and Ron Weasley winding up together.
Right. But that's the thing. The Liz and Gooch connection was giving me Hermione and Rob vibes because clearly Liz would definitely be a Hermione kind of character.
But isn't that the absolute trope of like, if the little boy picks on you and pulls your hair, it means he likes you.
But he never picked on Liz.
I hate that, by the way. But
he was just kind of a goof. But it's almost like the goof is able to melt the Ice Queen, which is kind of not that Liz or even Hermione are Ice Queens, but they're very studious and they're very serious, right? But it takes the goof in order to be able to crack that shell and let out let that smile out from that, serious driven demeanor that basically defines them.
I think it's just the perfect example of opposites attract.
It ain't easy. It's just a matter of fact.
Okay, MC Scat Cat.
I'm sorry that song is now stuck in all of your head, dear listeners.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
The Lincoln Wishlist sales event is happening now. Here's what's on everyone's wish list. Enjoying holiday jingles with brilliant 3D audio that surrounds you? Check. Watching snow flurries through the panoramic vista roof? Check. Packing up presents with the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Check. Everything you want. All standard on the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com for exceptional offers on 2025 Lincoln vehicles today.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kann du Norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Have to talk about him because, man, was it weird. Dan Fogler, who played Mr. Drum. I feel funny kind of talking about this after we just had our little Harry Potter comparison here. How was this Muggle for you?
He was more like his fanboys character in this one.
I appreciate that he's in here, probably because of the connection from fanboys. What is this character?
He's the creepy teacher.
No, but why is this character?
He wants to be cool.
But why is this? I understand the idea of even the teacher thinking the Cash is cool and him wanting to kind of be around. But God, do they make it creepy as hell.
You know what this is? This is, holy crap, and I can picture it, but I can't remember the movie. This is the teacher with the ponytail. And he loses his ponytail. It gets snipped.
I mean, I'm getting like Mr. Belding vibes from Saved by the Bell. They give him the creepiest lines of dialogue in this. And it's not good. I get on paper, maybe it's like, and yes, Dan Fogler does his best to make it not creepy as much as he can. But there's sometimes no getting around just the ick factor of this character.
My God, I thought he was playing up the creepiness.
Maybe, I don't know.
I was like, wow, he's real. But you know what? He used to be in a band, or he so wanted to be a rock star like young Chase. So
I mean, I get it. You want to be like Cash. I understand, but it's one of those things where maybe you don't go creepy in a movie that is having people accidentally call it barely legal. Like, the movie kind of walks a fine line a little bit. And I don't know.
You said barely legal.
I know, but that's what I meant, right?
Okay.
Like, you yourself said that you were mixing it up by accidentally saying barely legal. And clearly that's the whole purpose for calling it barely lethal. But maybe don't put a character who's being creepy to a high school kid like this in the movie that people are accidentally calling barely legal. It's maybe not the avenue you want to go down with a weird C-plot character. One last person to talk about in this, Jessica Alba, who plays Victoria Knox. Now, this is where I have to once again remind people that spoilers like a mofo are about to be dropped. So if you have not watched this film yet and you want to watch it, we don't want to ruin it for you. Go watch it now. Pause the podcast. We'll be here when you're done. 90 minutes later, come back to us. And now welcome back. Okay, so The fact that Victoria Knox is the operative that 83 has to go in and stop and capture, but then we discover that Victoria Knox is the original Prescott girl. She was agent number 1. Could they have picked any better person than Jessica Alba for this role?
Okay, but age-wise, how many years difference do you think there was between Agent 1 and Agent 83? They had to go through, 82 more.
Well, it's not like they do one at a time.
Well, no, there's a class of them, but still.
Exactly, right? I mean, we saw with the training thing, like this, you had multiple girls training all at the same time. So you have to think that maybe you're dealing with maybe 10 a year kind of thing.
But these kids grow up there.
They do.
They
absolutely.
literally went from like grade school, like really super young, to high school age.
Yeah. Okay, let's put this into comparison. When this film came out, Jessica Alba was 34 years old. However, Haley Steinfeld was only 18. So it would make sense that Haley Steinfeld, no matter how long she's been in the Prescott program, maybe wouldn't remember Knox at the time.
Fair.
Right? So there is actually a believability to the idea of Knox having been out of the program long enough before Haley Steinfeld would have even thought about her. And the other thing too is how much do they keep the older trainees, the older agents away from the younger trainees? Right? You don't have the older ones training the younger ones because no connections. Hardman said no connections. So it does make sense. But I mean, again, Jessica Alba is another actor, much like Haley Steinfeld, who can pull off comedy and action at the same time. I think she was a perfect person for this role. It's a small role, but the other key thing is that Knox is trying to take down the Prescott School. So you have a much bigger backstory to this film than gets. This isn't just a film about a girl who just wants to be normal. There's a big backstory in this that I wish was almost delved into a little bit more.
You're right. It was kind of glossed over. And then it's like, well, wait. Who the hell is? Well, I mean, we knew who she was.
So the reveal that she's the original Prescott girl, I think was a fantastic part for this. This is where I have to sit here and say, this film has a deeper lore to it that needs to be explored. This film could have been a series because you do have this idea of the original Prescott girl trying to take down the Prescott School, while the current crop has to kind of get over themselves. Meanwhile, it's also revealed that Agent 84, Heather, is actually working with Knox to kind of take it down from within. So again, you have a very cool secret agent kind of story here that kind of gets lost in the high school trope story.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question becomes, would you have rather seen this story about the Prescott School that happens to be the backdrop, not necessarily the backdrop, but the whole want to be a normal girl for Megan is the backdrop for this bigger story that's sitting over here?
No, I think the way they did it was nice. Like, it wasn't leaning too much into the backstory. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, really build that conflict. I think I would have, I like the reveal that 84 was working with her.
Yeah.
But
that also plays into the personality that Sophie Turner gave Agent 84.
It also gives a bit more, weight to why she wasn't the top student.
Yeah, it does add more of a fluff, or it takes away some of the just fluff aspect of this film, because let's be very honest, this film is giving me total Sunday afternoon vibes, right? It's a light, fun romp. It's everyone family friendly. You could play this on a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday matinee kind of thing, and on regular TV, and get away with it. You really wouldn't have to edit much in order to be able to get it onto afternoon broadcast TV.
Which shocks me that it had an R rating at one point.
Again, Samuel L. Jackson. But I mean, I also, if you take a look at the plot line of, or at least the, we kind of joked about it, a little bit during the trailer eyes, but the world that's created here can be perceived to be a little on the wrong side. So I get that. But there's nothing in here that is offensive. Okay, Dan Fogler's character is a little offensive. But for the most part, there's nothing in here that is offensive, that is bad for kids. It's a fun, it's a comedic romp. Everything is handled with comedy gloves. And that takes the sting out of any of the, on paper, it seems kind of sus kind of vibe about this film. But I wish they spent more time exploring that the Prescott School, Knox versus the school kind of angle, because there's a mid-credit scene for this film where Agent 84 meets with someone to work on taking down the Prescott School. This film is now 10 years old. I don't think we're ever going to get a sequel to this movie, but it's not to say that some kind of streamer doesn't look at it and go, we could do a short series from this. Like the property is ripe for expanding.
They would almost have to recast it, though.
Oh, you absolutely would have to recast it. But there's enough actors out there today that would fit into something like this.
Well, there's always hope for the future.
There is.
The brother, the young kid that, it's totally okay. He's just playing with a taser in the kitchen or comes across like a machete.
Parker Larson as played by Jason Drucker. Yes. I love what they did with him. Like he was the running gag through this. He played it well. He's the good recurring joke because he is finding these things in Megan's bag clearly while she's out doing high school things. So he's got a sword, he's got the taser, he's got the night goggles. I love this running joke. It's fantastic.
I love too that Sam Jackson tried to recruit him at the end.
The fact that he's listing off the Prescott School for Boys. Yes. All right. So comes time for our MVP. So Carrie, who is your number one agent from Barely Lethal?
Oh, this is tough. I thought I was prepared for this, but I'm just not. You know what? No disrespect to Haley Steinfeld. She played her part so well, like throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. She was kick-ass. She was completely
she's cute as a button in this.
Oblivious and completely.
The character of Megan can best be described as aw.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Her just complete naivety when she started high school to, building herself up, building her brand and becoming the popular girl. But I can't pick her because Liz Larson, her sister, bestie, roommate,
exchange adopted sister, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? She was just so great. I don't know. I loved her. I loved her character, her hard shell that just kind of
I'm surprised
broke away.
You didn't go with Samuel L. Jackson.
You know what? He was great as always, but I really, really liked the turnaround of both characters, of both girls.
I have to ask, did you read my notes? Because Dove Cameron is actually my MVP as well.
Oh? We rarely line up.
I found the character arc of Liz Larson to be much more fascinating than Megan's I Want to Be Every High School Student that I ever watched in a movie. Kind of, I didn't like the way they wrote Megan's character, because in order to make her as kind of life clumsy as she is in this film, you then diminish the secret agent that she is. You know, Sophie Turner, I loved her in this, but there isn't enough of her in this to make her the MVP. I love Liz's complete character arc in this, and I think it was played to perfection by Dove Cameron. So when you're right, you're right. And yeah, I said that on recording.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
Saving that.
All right. Also, not my MVP is Dan Fogler in this, because that character was just way, way, way too creepy. I love Dan Fogler. I think he's fantastic and funny as hell, but I can't not get behind this character. The script just did not do it any favors. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, strap in, because starting next week, we begin our 7-week run of the entire Police Academy franchise before we wrap up the year with yet another grading on a curve. But until that time, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned, or there is no way in a Canadian exchange student program that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the webpage so you get notified whenever we post new shows immediately. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.